Hello, world. This is Real World Astrology. We'd like to thank you so much for all of the love you guys sent to us over the past week. We did see the likes and the shares. Don't forget to like and share this podcast if you're enjoying it. Today, Heather Botkin and myself, Miriam Kramer, we're going to be diving into the dirt for the generational karma that is attached to all y'all out there born from 1995 to 2008. If you were born in that time frame, we're digging into your business. And
watch
I don't know
out,
if you're
Gen Z.
like it. Yes. Heather, say
Hey,
hello.
world. Hey, welcome back, guys. Glad to see you. Hope you missed us. We missed you. We scrolled a little bit on topic, but you're going to get that all the time with us. We love to go on. We just go straight with our intuition and our guts on what's relevant to talk about. And Miriam wanted to jump in today to talk a little bit about you Gen Zers. We know what you're up to.
111 on the clock. Yeah, look at that, Heather. Sending the love to all y'all. Last week we did speak about Odysseus. Don't forget, if you have or if you're new, hi. How you doing?
What's up?
Last week, don't forget to watch the video that we did on Odysseus Scylla Charybdis. If you haven't seen it, you might enjoy it. Today we're getting in the business of y'all born from 95 to 2008. And then next week, yeah, we'll still be digging into your business. We're going to talk about political trends, spiritual trends, the repurposing of like even a lifestyle or your purpose, your career, the homesteading stuff. We got so much dirt on you guys. It may take a little bit. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to share.
As far as the topics that we're going to be covering today, all very relevant to what's going on in the world now, right? Whether it be political or entertainment, aka the Diddy is going to be around there. Anyways, big revelations, and it's all very relevant to what we're talking about today. So I'm excited to jump in and get going with this stuff, Miriam.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because, yeah, we did work.
Okay, so evidently in South Korea, the women are taking a stand. They are fighting against the patriarchy, and getting to the point to where they're deciding that they're not going to play the game anymore. But basically, from what I understand, they're, across, it's not just here, but across the world, we're finding that women in this generation are choosing to rise against the patriarchy and the expectedness of, okay, so you're to become an adult, you're to become a mom, you're to become a wife. They're trying to break that tradition, and they are choosing to no longer have babies, okay, we're just going to go without. And they don't want their babies to live in the same kind of restrictions that they have. So this is their way of rebelling.
Yeah. I love that you use the word rebelling. With Pluto and Sagittarius, folks, you're going to see a lot of this. And just like Heather said, it affects the entire society. I'm going to go one step further, though, because it'll affect the governments. Like in China, they had the one-child policy that lasted for about 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still trying to fix that big, huge population gap. If you don't have babies, the government cannot educate you and then tax you. So the government loses all funding. So this is a cultural movement that women, these age ranges, I don't even know, how old would they be? I didn't do the math, but in their early 20s.
Right.
Pretty much saying F you. And I would agree that from what I've seen, they tend to have a lot of pets. Like, they're doing this tradition that says if I'm gonna baby anything, it'll be my dog. It'll be my
Right, right. I
you
mean, I
know.
don't think you got all these dog sitting or pet vacation homes. You take them
Mhm.
and they get to go get live in luxury and dog world, go swimming, and I don't know if they go tanning and stuff, but
Right?
whatever. But they basically get to go play, and
Right.
their owners pay a good amount for them. I mean, they are our fur babies. But I love this. I love so much that it's happening, that we're finding these articles that they're happening in South Korea. It's happening in South
In
Korea. It's
Asia,
happening in
yeah.
Japan and China. Those are countries that historically you really don't see women rise up
Right.
that way. I mean, they're big imperial type countries, right?
Oh yeah,
Or the
yeah,
big patriarchy.
yeah.
Everything's about the patriarchy.
Right.
Well, I love that this generation is finally putting their foot down and being like, you know what? We have a lot more control than you think we do. You
Right.
know,
With
it's
like
pretty good stuff.
evolutionary astrology and stuff, when I see stuff like this on a generational karmic level, like so big, I'm always thinking back to the past lives, and the past social events that were going on, that needed to be repeated when the cycle came again,
Oh yeah.
karmically, right?
Hmm.
So I'm thinking of all the World War II victims that were women that were dominated in some way, shape, or form by the patriarchy. And as the return, now the women are saying, well, I'm taking all of that back and not
Look at
giving you a legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I mean,
It's
it's
huge.
like all right, now we've seen this shit that you've caused.
Right.
You've had enough time.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
our
Yep.
turn. It's our turn to straighten some stuff up. And I mean, not that it's bad at all. I think that it probably is a
I
good
mean,
deal to have.
it would also like touch the traditional family. Think about it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it does. I mean, I think that even the United States
Right.
here, I'm noticing generationally, they're waiting longer to have babies,
Oh, yeah.
if at all.
Right. If at all.
And it's almost like that cue that is being taken of all the mistakes that
Right.
I made, my parents
Right.
made, their parents made,
Right.
and it is like a collective um, reckoning, if
Yeah.
I will.
It is. It's like a reckoning.
Yeah.
It is. And when you look at like, okay, so you and I live in the United States, and you and I go out into the world every day, and we see the women that are doing this, and we applaud them. And I wondered at the question of, you have the disrupted family table, you know, the nucleus of the family. Like if these women choose not to have a family, where is the nucleus? It's
Mm,
themselves. But a
yeah.
part of tradition also has to do with bonding. So it kind of leads into one of these other links we had about friendships
Hmm.
and the
Very much
power
so.
and the control that they have or they don't have over their friends. Like you've seen it. You've seen
Yeah.
it.
Very true. And before you lead into that, I mean, what's hitting me is the whole Roe versus Wade thing here in the States.
Right.
And the timing of that, the timing of this, South Korea women aren't having babies. Okay.
Right.
You know, ultimately what it is this is my fucking body kind of
Oh
concept.
my
These
goodness. Yeah.
women are rising in that and being like, no more. No
Right.
more. I get to have a choice in what I want. And so the way that it's coming out and the timing, I mean, yes, the progression's a lot different here than it is there, societally, but it's in regards to, the lengths that people are willing to go to either have a baby or not have a baby.
Right.
But ultimately, the big thing is I am in
Right.
control of my body, and I
I mean,
prefer to have, I love that it's just like it's our values, not your values that are going to
right.
determine
Right.
what I'm going to decide for my offspring,
Right.
my
Or
potential
not
offspring
offspring.
or not
Right.
offspring,
Get
right?
that away from me.
Anyway,
That
sorry.
sort of thing.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
that
I
just,
think
it
it's a
just,
beautiful because it's talking about how many different places this is going to touch. You were speaking, and I was thinking, God, this is going to affect consumerism
mhm.
in a huge way when you're making products. And as a merchandiser, you're kind of standing back and going, oh my God, our men's section is like as big as a tiny little frou frou souffle, whatever those little cakes are, petits. Is that what they call them? Anyway, um, it reduces the consumerism direction for manufacturing. And I am actually seeing it in the fashion industry where, I mean, come on, dude, come on, don't even lie. You and I have had the crappiest bras our whole lives, right, dude? My first bra, I had to go buy myself. I had $2.10 in change. And I walked to the Dollar General, paid the dude, and got my first bra. Like, how'd you get your first bra?
Oh yeah.
Remember?
There's definitely empowerment. And for me, how I got my first one, it was probably like a hand me down on my mom's.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was one of those blessed in like fifth grade with big old
Wow.
jugs. Anyways, but no, I was just thinking, what you just said, like how many white and tan ones did I have because I didn't have
Yeah.
little itty bitty perky ones,
Right.
So it's like the women, if you get a certain size, you're either looking like you're dressing like you're two generations older than what you
Right.
are,
Right. And
or
the other part was like the effect of fashion. You and I were raised where the tools that we had, think about it, access to those effing tools. Nobody taught us beauty. It's something that as a generation, I think we all in Gen X um, taught ourselves how to put our makeup on, taught ourselves how to do our hair. I'm just
older sister.
yes, the older sister was
You
missing.
had brothers though, right? So like
Yeah,
I grew up around girls,
right.
and no lie, Miriam, not gonna kid, my mom was working, so single mom out working, and I was watched by my older sister. This girl in my 80s pictures had the ratted bangs and the
Yes, we
wings and the
did.
aquanet, and
Yes.
yes, makeup in second and third grade pictures because I could, and I
Right,
learned how to do it for my sisters.
right.
Yeah,
And
but
our
like it's
it
right.
we didn't have that. The whole time span, makeup changed between back then and now where we are now. And we went through all the chemicals, right?
Mm.
We went through all the makeup chemicals until, don't you find it curious with Pluto and Sagittarius? All of a sudden, they started figuring out how to make makeup, create makeup
On
naturally.
animals. Yeah,
And now we have Pluto and Sag people going, I don't want to put that on my skin.
yeah, like the whole, like when you said that, I just started thinking, the animalistic nature of like testing on animals,
Yeah,
and
testing. Oh,
like no, 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 no,
yeah.
no, 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 it's all natural, baby.
Yes. Yes. All of a sudden, it's just like chemicals are bad. And you and I are like, we've been putting that on our lips since
Went from that
1991.
bright
Right. The
blue
bright
Mimi
blue.
eyeshadow.
And it's crazy, right? Because they look at us and they go, God, you guys still look young. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, you and I are Pluto in Libra.
Right, right.
So we may look young, but just know we got rode real hard. like through life. You know what I mean?
We've seen some shit.
Oh, we've seen all this shit. We pass the wisdom to you, you know, gratefully and wonderfully pass the wisdom to you.
And now they don't want to have kids. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, right. They want natural makeup. They don't want to have kids. They want to get a pet they can love, you know. And we're looking at, that's why I'm like, God, you guys are so empowered.
I love it.
You know, the Pluto and Sag thing, like, damn. One of the things I loved when I was learning this, which took me 3 years of meditation to finally understand Pluto and Sagittarius in the ninth house. I know a lot of people have trouble even trying to understand what that means. And Heather and I have made kind of a commitment to do these podcasts with you so that we can make it like relatable in your real world, in your own terms, ways that you can see it living out in your life, you know. So when I look at Pluto and Sagittarius, we know that there's a huge cultural change of some kind. And, you know, the beautiful part, I knew that this is the first generation that is going to change the world, not through something physical. They're going to do it with an idea. It's going to be an idea. It's coming from your brains. And I, you know, for you and I that had to do so much with our hands, and the generation before us with their hands, this generation is going to do it with their brain. And I adore that. Like, I love it. This collective, we're just not going to have kids. Screw you. You know, it's coming from somebody's brain. It's incredible. But part of the Scorpio influence can also take us to the other end of that spectrum, where someone gets a little cray-cray with their idea, you know?
A little big with her idea, a little over big drunk Uncle Jupe kind of big.
Like really, really big. And we're looking at things like what is zealous, what has fanaticism around it, what has a preacher vibe. You know, I'm going to stand up in a Western town up on a box, and I have a life-altering message that I have to give to the crowd, and I'm yelling as far as I can. It's the guy that went to California from Georgia a couple of weeks ago. That guy, he left his family in Georgia. I don't know if you know this. And he went out to California for, I don't know, like a month. He went to every major city yelling through the streets, I had a message from God that an earthquake is coming and you need to leave now.
Oh. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And he just left everybody behind because his message was so big. He felt everybody was going to listen to him.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Pluto and Sag. Rock on, you guys. You guys are going to bring
Go on with your bad self. All right. Good luck with that. Mm-hmm. You mean there's going to be big earthquakes in California? No shit.
Be like, okay, you're not the first one.
I just saw, what is it? I don't even remember what movie it was. John Cusack, Woody Harrelson, where he's standing he goes from the RV, he's standing waiting for the, the world to end. And
2012, that movie.
2012, just go with it, man. I'm just going to stay here.
Our generation with the polarity point being in Aries, and we've already learned enough of that. We'd be looking at a guy like that going, right on, you got
tell him, brother. Preach it.
So we're not helping things,
We are a bit antagonistic that way.
Helping things, but like the zealot, this would be in a negative way, and I'm going to have to spell out the word. But let's say that you have an idea that is so big that it has to be out there in an extreme way, would be like a religion where you're willing to strap a BOMB to your chest.
Right.
and walk into an elevator and just go up. What kind of effing idea, right? And we have another link here to show you because this one was extreme. It was so extreme that the rest of the world had never seen some bullshit like this. Let me show you. What the F? 32 people killed and thousands more were injured.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so messed up. I mean, from what's being said here, a Japanese company, which apparently made the walkie-talkies, has stopped producing them like 10 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So the theory and what, what world news is saying so basically, what is that over in Lebanon, right? The randomly, and they show pictures and videos of people just doing grocery shopping, and all of a sudden their laps are getting blown up for having a beeper. You remember those old beeper things? I think you just passed a picture. Yeah, a pager. And it started out where like those just randomly went off.
Yeah.
And it killed a lot of people, it injured a lot of people, and my goodness, they showed it on the news, and the next day, evidently the same thing happened with walkie-talkies, and it broke my heart. I mean, you're watching these people go through and mourn their dead from the day before of these beepers just suddenly blowing up.
Right.
And then, they're showing the funeral processions going down the street, and all of a sudden people's walkie-talkies start blowing up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's old school beepers,
Old school pagers, yeah.
Yeah, I remember those, texting it, beeping I love you, with numbers.
Yeah. I remember those.
Kids, those are the days before we had text messaging.
Look at these poor women. Oh my.
So anyways,
yeah,
the video is horrible, but so maybe cover your eyes if you don't want to see this kind of thing.
You're right, and I'm getting the F out of there.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to
deal with that.
You don't want to watch that. All right.
I mean?
So, but anyways, basically, it was to target the Hezbollah, right? Yeah. And they're finding that the manufacturers that got intercepted and placed these explosives inside of the beepers and the walkies stopped making these a decade ago. So how targeted this attack was, right? Yeah. So they knew the customer base on where these were going to be going into. When I say they, the news is saying that they believe it's Israel planted, and right here, Israel planted explosives and pagers sold to the Hezbollah. Yeah. Well, how sickening that all these years later, I mean, because you got to think, this could have been somebody's baby holding a walkie. Mm-hmm. Or whatever, and just targeting everyday citizens, trying to pretend as if every single person that had a beeper or walkie-talkie was part of some terrorist group is sickening. It just breaks my whole heart. But anyways, how manipulative and how dark that is, to go in a decade in advance and then go, oh, okay, well, we don't care who has this shit now, we're going to blow you up. Yeah. That's not, I'm sorry, but that is not a good look on you, Israel, or, I know it's not Israelis. I love y'all. I will just say that is really sick. And the type of warfare that Miriam's talking about, where people are just willing to look. Strap a bomb to themselves for their higher beliefs and Sad shows up. Yeah.
We're talking about Pluto and Sag, and then Sag shows up.
Yeah. I mean, and but the extremes. Okay. So that's what we're getting at. The extremes that people are willing to go to for their higher power, right? Yeah. Whether it be a political leader or higher power, as in their God, right? Like their belief is that it's okay to do this stuff. And man, that's just scary. It is pretty extreme.
Now, this right here also would represent it would represent the Hierophant card, but in reverse.
In reverse.
In
Yeah.
reverse.
Yeah.
That extreme where your actual belief
Yeah.
is not lining up in some way with your lifestyle. So many of the American Christian churches have actually, I was reading an article about it on Pew Research the other day. So many churches have chosen to alter, again, they have to alter themselves to their beliefs now. They've altered the normalcy and acceptance of the LGBTQ community. Why? Because the Hierophant was in reverse. It was too constricting. They had to open up a little. Jupiter, Sagittarius.
Losing their flock too. They got to get new people in.
Yep.
That's funny you mentioned that, because actually, like, I just noticed a commercial of a local church commercial the other day, and it was like talking about well, hey, we hear that it's basically like we hear people are into ghost hunting. Did you know the biblical sense of that? You know, like trying to come here.
Right.
We need some young people. Come. We know that ghosts exist, spirits exist. Are you into that stuff? Come on. Right.
No, but you're absolutely right. They're all over TikTok. They're all over Instagram. And the lures that they're presenting is another Pluto and Sagittarius feature, where you use Venus energy, which is softer. There's two different ways to win a war, right? One of them is Aries Mars, and the other one is Venus. And it's been done, bitches. It's been done, where the female feminine presence comes in very softly as fishing bait. They're fishing bait on a hook, line and sinker. And that's how Venus works, right?
I just saw Pallas Athena.
Yes.
Strategy.
The first in conjunct angle, it's an angle like you would do in geometry. Okay. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the angle. It looks like geometry. The first angle from Sagittarius is Taurus. And that's at the 150-degree starting point. Okay. And then it'll go to 180. That position to the Pluto and Sagittarius people means they're going to lean real heavy on the Venus aspect.
On the Venus side.
So think fishing bait. That's how they're going to come in to get something. They'll be like, and they're going to throw fishing bait at you.
Or free cupcakes, or
yeah, something real soft. And they're going to do it to an extreme. So let's say that the fishing bait that you provided didn't work. The Pluto in Sagittarius wants more. They want more. So what do they do in this position in the chart? They become extreme. Extreme belief systems that lock you up and chain you to yourself. Taurus, right? Your belief system being so strong that it wouldn't accept someone in your family who is part of the LGBTQ community. So the isolation doesn't need to be there, because the belief is big with Scorpio. The demonic, burn in hell. They're going to use these tactics, but they may use it with like the Knight of Cups in reverse, where they're on their knees crying. You have to, or you're going to go to hell, Yeah. They're going to use drama points as fishing bait. So I'm just throwing that in there.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hook, line, sinker. But, there's, when we're going in and we're talking about this Pluto Sag stuff, you have to keep in mind that, like with evolution, there is a beginning of Pluto and Sag, and there is an end of Pluto and Sag. Yes, I'm going there, Miriam.
All of a sudden, I'm like, choo choo.
There goes Heather.
Here she goes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a beginning and then there's an end. So you have to look at with that. Now, more of the extremism is going to be in the beginning of a belief. A lot of times, and I think you said it earlier when we were talking, it's like, I believe this and I'm going to scream it to the world and this is how it is and it's the truth and
Right.
big old Jupiter, like
Right. But it could
overkill.
also be with Pluto, it could be screaming that loud with a fear
Yeah.
or a paranoia where
Mm-hmm.
they get
Mm-hmm.
real loud. Go on.
Because it's coming right, because it's coming right out of Scorpio. No, I get
Right.
it. Right. So
Right.
it's that overreaction,
Overreaction.
the overkill, it's just
Right.
and towards the end of it, and towards the end of when Pluto was at the end of Sag, that's where you see it a little more refined,
Yes.
right? You really start to see the beautiful side of why all this extremism is happening and then turning it into, okay, well, you know what? We have a better way. How about
Right.
we just talk?
King of
How about
Wands.
we just accept each other?
King of Wands.
Yeah, it's the so keep that in mind as we're talking. We're
Yeah.
not dogging all Pluto
No,
and Sag and
no,
saying this is who
no.
you are. I mean,
Because
identity is huge to you
truth is,
guys.
whether we
So
dog you or not, you're still that.
we still love you. No,
You're
we
still that.
still
You still got to live with it. So,
yeah.
like, we're just trying to help you.
We are just talking about generational talk, right? So,
If you look at your chart, for those of you that are actually astrology driven, like we are, um, look at the degrees from 0 degrees to 29 degrees. Wherever Sag, the zodiac sign is, it's over a triangle that is a house. That's the area of your life that is going to be affected by this Pluto and Sag stuff. So let me give you, for instance, and I'm thinking like Pluto in the 10th. Let's say you have Pluto in Sagittarius in the 10th house. You have someone who thinks they're in charge of the plan and the way that things have to go. You may also have the opposite of that, where the person says, none of this is my responsibility. I don't want to pick this up and take control of it and move it forward with the Capricorn energy, that yin that gives us the drive to keep up and keep going. So the Pluto and Sag in the 10th could mean very much so that you work in a city in a very, 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 very high building at the very top of the building, like you're at floor 127. If you have Pluto and Sag in the 10th, it's going to make you go high in your career. You're going to get really driven. But if you're psycho about it, you're so psycho that your mom or dad has to look at you and go, look, dude, you need to stop yelling in my face about your work and your career. You see what I mean? Because the intensity of Pluto is going to make it psycho. I mean, it really is. If you put Pluto in Sagittarius in the 5th house, right? This is going to be someone, well, think Leo energy, Pluto and Sag, Leo, you're going to want to have sex on an aircraft.
mutable fire, baby.
Flying through the
Mile
air.
High Club.
You may also be in like a gambler, a really intense gambler, and you may go to the casino and have sex in all the corners because it's fun, right? Pluto in the 5th house. Right. So we're just giving you some examples. Heather and I do readings. If you would like to like book a session with us, we do put our contact information, how you can email us, absolutely, or just send a message on the social media. I'm sure somebody's going to find it. Anyway, back to Pluto in Sag, the intensity of the psycho, and let's just do it with something sexual, right? The next link is this.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
That's scorpionic energy right there. That's Pluto coming out of that's like Pluto Scorpio energy. However, on a Sag world, you got to look at goodness, admiration, beliefs, those who put their faith in their, idealization when they when you
Yeah.
idolize somebody, right? So not for me per se,
Right.
but Sean Diddy Combs, right? P. Diddy is in the news for, well, he's not in the news, he's in jail right now, right?
Yeah, he's in jail.
He's awaiting trial,
Right.
basically.
Exactly.
It's they're trying to get him out on house arrest for like a $50 million bond. And I think that with this, and I don't know that the idolization is as much as what it used to be. It used to be that celebrity culture was so big, and people have known for some time that you don't, when when Diddy asks you to come to one of his parties, you say no. Cat Williams said it best. You say no. You got to say no. Diddy want, you got to say no. It's integrity. Babe, you're muted, just so you know.
Look at this one. This is the extreme.
Oh yeah, I didn't even hear about this until you pointed it out. So
Yeah.
Diddy tunnel. Did feds find underground bunker at Sean Diddy Combs' LA mansion?
Bunker. Dude had a bunker. Like,
Man.
how insane are you?
So let's read some of this because I watch the news. I pay attention to the news, and I hadn't really even heard this. Let's
Yeah.
see. Oh my goodness. Several social media posts claim that there is a tunnel underground Diddy's Los Angeles mansion,
Yeah.
connecting it to the Playboy
The
mansion,
Playboy Mansion.
right? Which, Hugh Hefner,
What
I
the F with these people?
just scat, scat, scat. I'm sorry.
I just no,
Oh
man,
my
that's a really
goodness, it's
good point.
horrible.
I hate that you said that because I'm a
Scat,
Virgo
scat, scat.
sun and I'm a Virgo Mercury in my 12th house. And I'm just seeing all the germs. Oh my God, I'm just seeing all the germs. Like they said, they kept
Sanitizing.
like
Miriam's like scrubbing her skin like Ace
oh, it's
Ventura in the
terrible right
shower.
now. I am. I'm just like, oh my God. You have he would turn the air conditioning off so
I
that
heard
everybody
that.
was sweating
That is disgusting.
because he thought it made everybody hotter.
That's a big old case of, I'm sorry, big old case of swamp ass never made anybody hotter.
Like the Motel 6s that are on the side of the road, these little hometown motels that are like 500 years old,
Right?
you think about the mattresses in there or whatever else that you're touching and it's all
You
over.
walk in with shoes and it sounds
If
like Velcro.
you could take 250 million of those types of motels, it would be nowhere near as nasty
Ah,
as
it's horrible.
P. Diddy's house. Okay.
I
Like,
mean, we're laughing and it's not
oh no, no,
like
no.
evidently
Like,
there's some very substantial claims and we are not minimizing
well,
that
but
one bit.
looking at evolutionary astrology, you can see the past lives that would be attached to the sex trafficking,
Yeah,
to
it's
the slave to the master. And Pluto and
oh yeah.
Sagittarius, excuse me, is always going to be squaring Virgo and Pisces. And that's where the slave master dynamic comes from. So notice
Hmm.
the Pluto and Sag. This is a person who is so free with their sexual identity
Hmm.
that now he is turned into a quote unquote master over slaves
Yeah.
situation. Okay. For the survivors of this thing, my God, I don't think there's one of us that is listening to this right now that isn't crushed in their heart chakra. And we send you love, we send you light,
And congratulations
and
for
congratulations.
get
Yes,
them. Fucking get them.
get them.
Congratulations on speaking your truth. I know that for a lot of years, people didn't want to hear you or you were too scared to say anything.
Yeah.
So big hugs, big love out to you. I mean, this is kind of moving way fast forward to
Right.
Pluto's final entry into Capricorn and saying off off with the heads,
Off with their
to all
heads.
those
Yeah.
people abusing their power, living under a false mask of
Right.
who they really are,
Yeah.
and using their influence to harm,
Others
to enslave,
to enslave.
to hurt others is
Oh
not
my
it,
God, the
all of
abuse
that's being
level.
called out. And yeah, I definitely, I mean, we're coming up on an eclipse too. I definitely don't see him getting out
Right.
at all.
Well, the Pluto
Um,
and Sag thing is saying that dynamic is more powerful than I am, and I am powerless. Right.
mhm.
Notice the swap that happens where all of a sudden every victim is now powerful and
I
he
love it.
is powerless. And that Pluto and Sagittarius dynamic that
Has
is
been a big
coming
part of
from,
it.
like, the fight is coming from the entertainment sector.
Hmm.
Okay. I
Oh
know
yeah.
there are some politicians and musicians and stuff that were thrown in there, a lot of musicians, but that is part of the culture.
Hmm.
Those artists drove the Sagittarius culture.
Oh
Sagittarius
yeah.
rules our culture. And now you have this dynamic where it's got the attention of, like, everybody. I think this guy is still putting out names. Like,
Oh yeah.
kind of like, I'm going to put out a name each week until somebody comes.
Yeah, so I believe it. He's gonna rat. He's gonna rat, but
Yeah.
he's also, you gotta I can't help, Epstein keeps coming to my mind. You know,
Oh, yeah.
how okay, two things. So the whole Epstein thing, he had names too,
Oh, yeah.
and you know what happens to people who have names.
Yes.
You know what happens to people who traffic children or people.
Yes. Oh my
You
God.
know what happens in prison
In
to those
prison. Yeah,
people.
like we know as adults.
Right.
We've watched the movie America Me. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Mm-mm.
Don't.
Don't. First
Just
of all, don't.
don't. I don't think, like, you guys talk about horror flicks. I love horror
Yeah.
flicks all the time. America Me will be a horror flick you will never forget. Just don't do it. It's
Mm.
like that caterpillar movie. You know, this was Pluto and Scorpio, people. You guys are nuts. Okay. You guys were born 1983 to 1995. So the Pluto and Scorpio generation, when it first began, here you've got this director that's making a movie about how he like abducts people and then attaches sews. The first guy is on his backside and he sews the mouth, and then the next guy and sews the mouth to the backside of the person, and it makes a chain. What kind of disgusting Pluto and Scorpio bullshit is that? I'm
I've just seen the
like,
South Park episode.
oh really? They got a
Those
South
who
Park
know what I'm
episode on it?
saying.
Oh my
Do
God.
you
What
know
is
what it is that I am saying? Those who know, know. It's horrible.
totally
Well,
disgusting? So
oh, mention that.
it influences, like, the Pluto and Sag generation because they're watching that going, that's fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, look at the movies that we watched. Okay, so I mean, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 80. And so, I mean, you just look at, what was it, like Labyrinth
oh
and,
yes. I was
the
part of the
never-ending
seven, like,
story, that mud
yes,
scene where he's like in
yes.
sinking. And, but we were, the Neptune and Pluto generation definitely let out movies and things like that were a little too age inappropriate, I guess.
Which generation?
So I'm sorry, the Neptune and Scorpio, or not Neptune, my brain, it just went,
I think
but
it's the same
Pluto and
generation.
Scorpio
It's no, it's not the
mentioning
same. Yeah, Pluto and
you were
Scorpio
mentioning
generation.
Pluto and Scorpio.
They did
Yeah.
come out with a lot of good movies, though.
They were good, but they were also really over sexualized. I mean, if you look at some of it, like some of them were like, look, this old dude's really into this little fucking girl. And they made it seem like it
Oh
was
my
normal in
God.
a
Oh
movie,
my God, The
right?
Detective. Did it come out during that time? The Wire. I don't know if
Well,
you've ever seen
that's
that
a
on
lot later,
HBO.
but yeah.
Is it a lot like later
Well,
in,
maybe it was in the 90s,
as
wasn't it? Late
Pluto?
90s?
Oh, remember The Sixth Sense with
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Willis? the sixth sense, Pluto and Scorpio, but it was at the beginning when Pluto was transiting through. That's what we're talking about. That movie, thinking of the it's a cartoon with the dinosaurs, and it's like
The land. It's Littlefoot. It's a Land Before Time. I told you about
that
my
was at the
ties to
very
that.
beginning. So you have an orphan that is on a great pilgrimage, picks up a lot of friends to go find his family. That is so Sagittarius. I don't know what to do with it.
There's tree stars. Yeah.
What was it doing in the? Oh, the other thing that we were talking about was how Sagittarius energy is both animal and it's like half animal, half human.
The centaur.
So yeah, the centaur, with the arrow. And so when he pulls the arrow back, the great thing about Sagittarius, if you don't have Pluto there, is that you can create a focus. And the focal point is so intense that you begin to pigeonhole that one little thing, and it becomes such a tight focal point that the rest of your life just falls away. Your relationships do not no longer thrive. You may push relationships out of your life because your focus is so intense. You can lose jobs, you can make really shitty decisions because that one focal point, it's not mutable enough because Pluto has a grip on you with that obsession so tight that you resist being mutable to alter a plan, to alter the schedule of your day. Pluto and Sagittarius folks can get, the vision becomes so large in their head. You and I were talking about this yesterday, where it becomes a control factor with like everyone around you. If it's not your way, it's the highway, and I'll cut that person off and they won't have any access to me at all. So the generation that began the ghosting trend.
Yeah, that's a word I use, ghosting. A trend of ghosting. Yes.
Ghost, which basically, if you look at it with the Pluto and Libra, we've had to learn relationships, and there is such a thing called conflict management. It's like how you build a bridge. Even if you part, what something I love about the spiritual community that we have all gathered into magnetically, that's called Uranus. We all came together under the banner that is going to be our new future. It's going to be the way that it will be when all of this turmoil ends. It's going to be, hi friend, we have this creative thing we want to build. And we look at someone and saying, your energy is a little off to me, so I'm just going to go away. And the acceptance of that kind of the person, it's not rejection anymore. It's more like release.
Yeah.
We'll come back together when it's time. And that sweet release, the Pluto in the Sag generation has to destroy basically that cultural norm, the ghosting thing, the cultural norm of controlling the culture by ghosting. The control of the culture. It's kind of a very strong, what would you call it? It can move millions of people this way or that. The entertainment and celebrity business is now loathed and hated for the corruption, Scorpio, Pluto, that is attached to the broadcasting and marketing of these huge music people, huge political people, huge writers, directors. I think the day after
you gotta remember the fourth, the Jupiter. That's colleges, that's professors, that's deans. You've seen them all getting called out, having their proverbial heads chopped off. For abusing power.
Abusing power. And then it turns into such hatred towards that system, where we look at, for instance, a really good one that we were talking about was wealth.
How
the
caste
that
system
generation yeah, the caste system. They're going to destroy the caste system, or they're going to focal point on it so hard they're not going to release, and they're going to get washed away.
Yeah.
Because Scorpio's like water.
Mhm.
It's still moving. So let's talk about the hatred of the wealth.
Okay. Hatred of the wealth. I mean, if you just look at the scope of the things, where a good majority of the people who have Pluto and Sag are, they're, and I think we were going to talk more about this next week, but jumping into it now, a lot of them have to live with their parents, have
Yes.
multiple roommates because they can't afford
Oh
the
yeah, we have.
American dream, okay, go to school, go to college. Oh, wait, get all the student loan debt
Yes.
and never have the working skills to fully implement the money that you went to school for. So you got to work at a fast food joint and a tanning salon and 10 different places at once just to try to make
Yes.
money, as corporate, giants are, sieving you dry. And belief systems. I love that, and I do have to say, I know that a lot of this bringing off of the heads and stuff of the people abusing their power has more to do with Capricorn leaving Pluto, but Pluto was first in Sag, and this is the generation that has a huge, huge impact and footprint on our future and where things are going. And with that, I mean, I think that the disdain is basically being like, you fucking lied to us. But it's like you lied to us
Yes.
about what about what this dream is, I mean, this is what you showed us, but you didn't leave us with a well-laid set of anything left over for us to use. You guys have used it all up. And so there's a disdain for I mean, there's that desire. So you talk about that quincunx down to
Yes.
Taurus, right?
Yes.
So the overindulgence, or the wanting of the nicer things is there. That
Right.
want is there. It ends up playing out in different ways, of course, with the grandioseness, but that want and desire is there for all those Venusian beautiful luxurious things.
Yes.
However, realistically, the money isn't there to do it. So debts are tremendously through the roof without an end in sight. And I think it's just helping people see through the facade overall, as far as, what the elites are pulling. So that disdain, it runs deep because it's a belief system.
Yes.
Jupiter is belief systems.
Comes from your brain.
Sagittarius is belief systems.
Yes.
Yes. Faith.
Faith. Oh
They
my
don't have
goodness.
faith. There's no
Yes.
faith
Oh
in
my goodness.
our
Oh my God. They don't have faith.
there's no faith in
Oh my
the
God.
dream. And
They
that
give
breaks my
up
heart
on
to
the
say it.
dream.
Yeah.
They hit that first wall and then they quit trying.
Yeah.
They give up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, you got to have faith. Faith, I guess you could say, let's go to the strength card in the tarot. That is a faith card. You have someone who is going to go the long haul. When they make a commitment that is long, like let's say you have a child that has to take care of a sick parent, that is a very long strength card. This person has that characteristic and ability and skill.
Of course, mixed with temperance, babe. You got
Yes.
the water, foot in the water, foot on the
Yes.
land, with the
Yes.
divine energy holding the faith, keeping the faith.
Absolutely. Yes. And with Pluto and Sag, you're absolutely correct. They have no faith in their own plan. They have no commitment, they give up on commitments very easily. However,
They weren't
I
heard
will
for a long
throw in
time.
there that those commitments are usually career or Taurus things related,
Right.
because this generation, when they get married, it's like they married their best friend.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily a romance, like you and I were romanticized all through our
Or
childhood.
multiple best friends. We can't forget
Yes.
about the poly, babe,
But yeah,
because
actually, yeah,
that's a part of it,
we
I
had
mean,
this link on the polyamorous side
Yeah.
of this generation. Look, if polyamory is on the rise, there may be good economic reasons, but Northeastern economists say arrangements are tricky. They are doing this thing where open relationships with their body, Taurus is the that first inconjunct that actually talks about making a baby with
Talks
someone,
about like what we already
right?
talked about. Yeah.
However, it is the place in the chart, the second house, where we want to mate. And we want to mate with Dark Vader so that we make a child that is so effing strong, they will survive. Okay. So survival attached to our sex preferences in Taurus. So with Pluto and Sag, you're looking at people who were very free with their sexual identity. You guys in France, hi, how y'all doing? Crazy French people. Historically, like I'm thinking 1700s. You know what I'm doing? You know what I mean? They go to the madame's house and they all hang out. It's just an excuse to get drunk and fuck each other in public. Okay, just call it what it is. Sagittarius generation French people. So yeah, this focal point on mating that is twisted in some way. You're mating all over the place, but your body is not craving a little Darth Vader baby to mate with. You see?
Yeah, it's not mating to reproduce.
No.
It's I value my body and I can share it with whoever the fuck I want to share it with, and you don't get to say one way or the other, because then that would be politically incorrect, by the way. So do not judge. I can be poly if I want.
All the things. Tell me
what to do with my body. I can.
If you look at the generational karmic like setup for a past life generational, syphilis was a thing. People like syphilis. These people would die in their 30s. Okay,
please be careful out there.
Be careful.
Be responsible.
Because if you're attached in some way to that disease, poison, Scorpio, you may have to repeat something like that. Please go see the doctor. So nobody gives a damn and nobody's looking at you, because honestly, you want to know all the people that are looking at you, Pluto and Sag Gen? The ones that follow you around.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So nobody's following you right now. You're not on the docket, okay?
It's interesting.
Go to the doctor.
This Pluto Sag generation, in a lot of ways, kind of reminds me of like the hippies. The free love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Sag is there, the big Jupiter energy is there, but it's definitely the polarity of Gemini is all over this.
It's all over it. The Gemini polarity point shares the energy across the board. It's just that it moves like a teeter-totter, and sometimes you're more Pluto and Sag, and sometimes you're more Gemini energy. And the flow of that kind of says that the Pluto and Sag energy is heavier than the other side. So depending on the intensity of the transit or the moment, or your just freaking personality and the way you are, sometimes you'll snap and you'll flip, because Gemini is a quick switch. It's a quick switch. Gemini has two factors to it, Pollux and Castor. And so it'll flip this way and that way when it wants to. Instinctually, you will not have a choice when this person flips.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde, like that.
Frickin' frack, however you want to put it.
So if you have two goals that you are focal pointing on, like binoculars, trust me, when that Gemini flip switches, you'll be typing and being like, they'll be like, what are you writing? Oh, I'm supposed to be doing it for that, not for this. Damn it, Jim. It's like that. The flip will happen very fast. So think of your social media stuff. Ninth house Sagittarius is broadcasting information, like propaganda. Okay, I didn't say.
Yeah, like the TikTok.
disinformation that all of a sudden became
Disinformation
so
is
damn
everywhere.
important. And it's like, it's always been there, guys. If you,
Yeah, it's always been there.
it's always been there, y'all.
It's
like,
still there. And well, what's
how is
weird
it
is
that we were able to identify the stupid? I don't know. Our generation doesn't have a problem with finding disinformation and just letting it roll down our shoulders. That's what I think.
no, I agree with that because I
Right?
mean, I think that we all really need to take a big look at the with okay, I'm just going to say it. So Jupiter belief systems, okay?
Right.
What we were talking about earlier about the control thing of I don't know how many times just, family members, customers that I talk to, whether it be clients or somebody, irked at the grocery store about the
Right.
prices. They're going to throw their political agenda and immediately go, well, this is why this and this and this and this and this. Imagine the people, and I know that maybe some of you do this, and please just hear what I have to say. Okay. Not everybody has the same belief system as you.
Oh my God.
Not everybody is into one side of politics or the other. And
Or
I would just
religion,
ask religion or whatever, belief system, religion,
or
politics,
sexual identity.
sexual
I
identity.
don't want to know. Honestly, it's none of my business. It's kind of
Right.
inappropriate to go into someone's
Right.
area.
But
So it's like
I know.
telling the Pluto and Sag there's two things you don't talk about at the dinner table. One of them's politics, the other one's religion, right? Keep your mouth shut. And it is a social cultural thing where they walk. I had a client, right? She's on the call with me and she goes, Miriam, my nephew walked in the door and put his shoes on my dining room table. You talk about the lack of etiquette with that is a social interaction thing, right? Where they do something so inappropriate, they believe they have the right to do it. And you're looking at them like you did what with your underwear?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't walk
Right.
in public in your underwear. That's a felony.
Well, right, exactly. And it's knowing better. So like the thing
Yes.
is especially with AI, okay. The younger ones are going to be easily most I will say this, as far as
Persuaded.
AI
That's a
goes,
Sagittarius
they're
thing.
more easily persuaded, and there's a good amount of them that are
Yes.
seeing through the bullshit.
Yes.
So whether you're scrolling endlessly on social medias and
Yes.
TikTok videos and whatever,
Yes.
realize that a good 75% of it is total bullshit,
Bullshit.
not real,
It ain't
and
real.
literally just made for more likes,
Yes, but the truth
subscribes,
is,
and it doesn't make it truth. It does not make it truth.
no, you that's why they said truth is subjective. It's truth. Oh, if you can get that, the truth is subjective. Everything about Sagittarius is about an idea in one's head and selling it to someone.
Yeah.
This rules the salesman, the car salesman, right? It
Right.
rules the lady in the store trying to sell you those shoes. That's a Sag energy. And so it all starts with the mind.
Yeah.
If I'm going to market something to you, that is a thought. And you're allowed to make another choice. You're allowed to change your mind. Everybody has that right.
Very
So
much so.
generation to see, that is not the only choice. If we go to Gemini, which is the polarity point, we
I almost
call
went
in
there.
more friends. We talk
You
to our
do.
neighbors.
You
Get
do.
more data, right, from different places. That's Gemini. We go into the world and we see for ourselves.
I'm just going to point out that statement that you said was so very true. I'm just going to point out that someone running for president that used to be president decided we talked a little bit about this in opening, decided in the debate to talk a little bit about, saying that illegal immigrants were eating people's pets, and literally said, I saw it on TV.
Hard on.
So this Gemini sun, gotta love him, gotta love him.
Right?
Whatever.
What area do you think
But
links to
the
the TV?
Gemini, right? The Gemini is so
Yeah.
overkill, taking
Overkill.
information and okay, well it must be fact and true, and I'm going to run my political agenda and wait, let me reach across to Sag and go make this a big ass fear for you because there's
Yes.
some sort of innate fear of immigrants or they took
Right?
my job or whatever you want
Because
to
they're
put it.
small animals. So that's Taurus.
Right.
And you're like, they
And
did what?
exactly.
And if,
But what
dude,
I'm
did you
getting at,
know
and
that the sheriff or the judge there in Springfield, Missouri, actually had to pull a newscast conference live telling everyone that the animals are fine?
oh yeah, or Ohio or whatever. Yeah, well, I mean, it's
Such
just
a
it
serious
just got
thing.
it just goes to show. I mean, literally, and it was one of those things that somebody overreacted
Oh,
because they saw somebody freaking out on, I don't know, if the person
overdoing.
was just took too many drugs or
Right.
what, and then
Yes.
like basically killed or hurt or killed a cat, but it was not like voodoo related. It was not
No.
something. Yes, they had an influx of Haitians, but it was
Right.
because of the work.
Yes.
Literally everybody, and I'm not taking political sides one way or the other, so don't even bother putting it in our comments. We're literally speaking to this so that you can see the energies
Yeah.
of each of the
Yeah.
zodiac signs.
Everybody's
But
got to learn this.
but it goes to show how big Jupiter, which rules Sag,
Right.
is, because whether it's true,
Yep.
false, any information, somebody's belief system, they're going to put it out there and they believe it as truth. They're
Yes.
loud about it. The reach is far. So the whole disinformation, misinformation,
Yeah.
truth going out, everything is so loud because everybody
Yes.
just wants to be heard.
Yes.
And, that's such a big
Yes.
Sag thing.
And then
The
everybody took their societal categorizations because it does square Virgo. Virgo is the place where we categorize the people in our life. We categorize the hierarchies of the people that we work for, the businesses that we work for. If you're in the military, it categorizes the rank of the person standing next to you. And that's
Mhm.
Virgo. It squares Sagittarius energy. It's where we make our choices and decisions. On the other side of Virgo is Pisces. And that's where we dream up the dream. That's where movies come from. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sag squares, and that just means that it's a challenge. Is it a square in the sky? Yes, it is a square in the sky. This is just a challenge. It can be overcome. Okay. Where you're looking at the judgments, the categorizations, you're looking at the movies. There's people that have like tried jumping off buildings because they think they can fly because the movies like the Avengers and stuff like that, these people can fly. No, you can't fly, bitch. You cannot fly. And with Pluto and
No, Red Bull
Sagittarius,
did not fucking give you wings.
right, categorizing can be a challenge.
Yeah.
Finding the truth in what category and their rank in the structure actually does compared to someone's imagination, someone's fantasy world. Whatever that is going on in Pisces, we can call it an illusion where you cannot see it. It's a hazy area in your head where it's hard for you to make a true choice. If you're a Pluto and Sag person, you start feeling hazy and you're like, this is one area I have not been able to figure out.
I'm struggling with discernment. Yeah. I mean,
That's where you're going to see that challenge. It's just a challenge. We can do this.
right. Well, and you're probably feeling, and I really think that a lot of we talked about this as well. A lot of people are waking up.
Oh
That's
yeah.
another reason why we're here talking, because we're
Yeah.
just normal everyday people. And
But
I mean,
our we don't have
it's
Pluto in Sag, we have Neptune in Sag. So
our Plutos are in Libra.
yeah,
So
don't
we're a
worry.
little older, but
We're good.
anyways, what I was getting at, and she mentioned earlier, we were talking about celebrity culture, the Diddy thing,
Yeah.
going through and talking about the entertainment world,
Mhm.
uh, popularity, if you're talking about the influencers and all that kind of stuff being so big. A lot of that it's all coming to a culmination right now,
Yes.
because I don't know if you guys realize this, but we are about to have three of the outer planets transition into new signs for
Oh yeah.
good,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yes,
Like,
we did.
so the Pluto in Capricorn is in 29 Capricorn
Oh
right
yeah.
now. Mid-November, it's about to dip out of Capricorn for the last
Yes.
time. You're going to see some major changes, and we'll get there hopefully on a different episode. But also Neptune Neptune's at 28 retrograde right now,
Yeah,
but
but he'll go
it
back
was at 29, and it's going to go over into Aries, and then we're going to
in
see
March. Mhm.
Uranus get out of Taurus, which has
Yep.
not been comfortable for most of us.
Ooh,
And then it's going to go into Gemini, and it's going to get loud. All
loud.
right. It's
People are,
going to be loud.
ooh, if you're a Pluto and Sag person and people are getting loud in your face,
Yeah. Yeah. A
you're
lot
gonna
of
have
this is.
Uranus right
Mhm.
across from you, which means this is instant where you can feel attacked or you are attacking someone else.
Let's not forget Uranus is the Tower card.
Yeah, it is a tower.
Yeah, but basically what I was getting at is that a lot of these culminations are in divine timing. Okay, so we're going to see a lot of things changing, and I would say have a lot of patience with others, please.
And
Have
yourself.
a lot of patience with yourself and practice, please. Practice forgiveness, because you know what? With the way that everything's changing, I'm watching even, you got to look at the generations that are older than us,
Yeah.
okay, and that are struggling to adapt all of these changes,
Yeah.
okay? We are all human. None of us are perfect.
Mhm.
And, even as, I'm a mama, and, even a mama in my mid 40s, I'm
Yeah.
still learning how to be a good mom,
Yeah, we
you
still haven't figured
know?
it out.
Right, and it's one of those things that just because you
Mhm.
believe
Sag.
in a certain way,
Yeah.
if you have found yourself maybe a little, whether it be casting judgments towards others, that's low Jupiter Sag energy is going to be judging, right? If you find that you've been judging somebody and you've realized your ways, good for you.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. You don't need to feel
Be
bad,
gentle.
you know better, you do better, right? And we're here to help you along the way. It's
Yeah.
okay, whether you've been the one casting your political judgments towards your family and you see them backing off because of it, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Dude, my husband has moon
Now
and
that you know
Sag.
better, do better. What, babe?
My husband has moon and Sagittarius conjunct Jupiter in his 10th house, right? Sag, right at the top. This mother effer. And his mother, about 10, 12 years ago, had to put a boundary on that Sag energy. And she said no politics
Yep.
anymore in the house. And it's curious because my husband has Scorpio, which is the same as Pluto over his ninth house. He finally let go of control.
Yeah.
He kind of sat back at about 49 years old and said, "You know what? I can't control any of that. My life is being lived here."
Mm-hmm.
And so he stopped all the politics stuff on his
Well,
own.
good for
But
him.
that Scorpio energy where you
Yeah,
just
obsess.
you obsess and you scratch at it. And then you just wake up one day and it's already filtered through your system, Virgo filter, and you're ready to just let it go. That's a beautiful moment. It's also one you can't control. So if you are still itching, Pluto represents the soul, right? In evolutionary
Mhm.
astrology. Keep itching, bitch. That's how I
It's
kind of
not
look at it. You're
it's
not done
not
yet.
comfortable.
There's
Yeah.
still gas in the tank, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not wrong. Or please don't harm yourself or others. That's not what we're saying. we're saying that as you obsess, you are altering yourself and you're putting yourself this way. Should I come at it this way? We're looking at our Aries energy, our identity, and saying, well, what if I played this role? So you see, the obsession serves an evolutionary purpose to your soul. If you're not evolving anymore, you get benched. That's kind of how the game of this thing, the rules of the game work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that Pluto and Sag, where you're itching and scratching at a focal point, at a something, it is crushing you to alter you. Okay. It's squeezing you to alter you in some way. The obsession serves a purpose. You're not bad.
You're just
You're a
maybe
bad
getting in your
person,
own way.
right?
Right.
Tomorrow will
So,
come, you wake up again, and you make choices again. It's
yeah.
okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the biggest ways with healing something like that, and I say that because trust, there's part of myself that through my healing journey, I've had to take that deep platonic look at myself and be like, okay, Heather, enough bullshit. You know, what is it stirring within you that causes that monster that will hit it, that Charybdis, that Charybdis, that Scylla? What causes that?
What am
To,
I doing?
and can you identify it when it happens? That's key, you know. So
what's in my environment happening?
so if there's something you're doing, even, and I'm going to use this one because it was me, right? I'm an Aries rising.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
going to put that out there. Although I got
Uh-huh.
my Aquarius moon, I'm an Aries rising.
Right.
And you best know this girl likes to drive and go, and everybody better get the F out of my way. Not that I'm not an inconsiderate
I
driver.
am not here right now.
I know, I
You
know.
drive like a
I'm lucky
badass
I'm not in down in Texas. Yeah, I'd be all right. I'd be all right. But no, like I would catch myself, and it's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny because my son, I remember when he was younger, like him catching me, like I cussed somebody out and laid on the horn. So he slammed on their brakes in front of me out of the blue with no
Oh, I don't
blinker
do
to
all
turn.
that.
And I laid on my horn, and I said quite a few cuss words, and my son was like, Mom, do you really think you need to be cursing that much? You know, and I was like, you're right. And then I turned, and then somebody for the gas station did the same thing and like short broke me. And I was like, I did it again. I was like, gosh, you know, and he's like, Mom,
You
you know,
talk
and
about
so I started checking myself. Yeah, basically in traffic.
yeah.
That's what
Checking
I did to
yourself.
retrain my brain. On
The
the way to work, I would notice that I'd get caught by every red light. And the more frustrated I got, the more red lights I caught. So it's like that in anything in life. When you catch that trigger and you can identify it,
yeah.
start flipping the script on it. With me, I had to be like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe there's an accident down the road. Maybe that's why I caught this
Yeah.
red light. Maybe I need to maybe just leave a
Yeah.
little 2 minutes earlier next time, you know, or just, oh, it'll be okay. You'll make it as long as you arrive safe, it'll be
Yeah.
fine. Somebody cuts me off. Hey, I may be reacting like you MFer, but I'm waving, hey, have a great day.
Yes.
Glad you got to cut me off.
Right.
You know, just doing that. And when you do it for a good month straight, it
Yeah.
becomes a habit.
I know
You
living in
you see you heal
Texas,
that part, you
in
know?
Texas, we believe in road karma. And sometimes it's you and sometimes it's them. But
Oh, yeah.
right, sometimes your strategy on the road is to hit the brakes and just let the guy go around you. Because you know what? I'm faster than that dude. I know I am. It's cool.
Yeah.
But some days we don't know if he's on his way to the hospital because his wife's about to have a baby or something.
True that. You never know what's
So I
happening in
just
somebody
kind of hit
else's
the brakes
life.
and let him go around me. The other thing I wanted to say with Pluto and Sagittarius is that you know, the axes, the cross there, Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces rules
Mutable.
languages. Okay, it rules. Gemini would rule your elementary school training. Okay, the elementary social skills, right? And you guys are the children of Pluto and Libra. So I don't know how many of you think you're best friends with your parents, but that's kind of inappropriate. And that's my opinion. That is an opinion. So you can imagine a codependent parent on a child growing up that way, and the child having Pluto and Sagittarius and totally leaning and depending so much on their language and their learning coming from that direct source. And so as the languages change, you may find that Pluto and Sagittarius people had to once upon a time in past lives be the translator for their parents. And that's what it looks like in the charts to me, where I go, oh, you had a family that left one country, went to another, and the only one that knew the language was the child. And the child was 5 years old in the chart, you know?
Wow.
So Pluto and Sag people may come into this lifetime knowing the law, knowing the rules, and having to translate higher knowledge to the people above them. Okay. You might have been a slave in a past life doing this. You could have been a scribe where you were, you know, forced to write, forced to learn. So, if someone has control of your higher knowledge, and with Pluto and Sag in that area, you may be very weak minded on a topic. Okay. And you can be controlled just via the language in your house. Gemini rules gossip. It rules that social media place. It rules all of your electronic devices. And Sagittarius would be the information on your devices.
Yeah.
If someone is controlling our social media, you're going to find a great many people who are persuaded Sagittarius from the information. So language becomes very important. We see the time frame with AI coming out, right? Pluto and Sagittarius. It is, yes, it is a creative energy, but let me explain your polarity point. Gemini is the first place that we begin to solve our problems. And that's all life is, really. From the time we wake up in the morning, we have a problem, right?
Right.
And a challenge, and we have to figure out how to solve that choice by making a choice. That's all of life. It happens every day with everything. I am making a choice right now because my challenge is that Heather and I have a message that we need to get out to you. We're solving that, Gemini, by coming together with friends and figuring things out. Okay. If you are masterful at solving your problems, Gemini or Sagittarius, actually, because now it created a focal point, then you're going to be strong at life. If you have yielded over that higher knowledge to a codependent somebody in your world, now that's where Pluto steps in and goes, sweet, then we will have your partner give you the information that makes your huge life choices. Do you see what I mean? It can also come from cultural things where you have families that are still performing traditions the way it used to be done. For instance, marriage in India. I get a lot of these clients where they come in and it's an arranged marriage, or they need to make a choice between living like an American or living out their tradition. They know 2 languages, if not more, and they become this bridge between cultures. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love that. I love that that part's happening, that it's at least being looked at, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with that Pluto and Sag, you know. I mean, our beliefs matter, you know. We want control over our decisions based on our beliefs. I do love that about the Pluto Sag. Did we have any other articles to cover?
No, I think we're going to stop it right there for today.
Okay.
You know, Heather and I, we really appreciate you guys coming to listen. We'd love to get to know you. So if you email us, we'll probably write you back. But definitely leave a comment and send us a message. If you've enjoyed this content, don't forget to share it.
100%. And also, please leave comments. Let us know what you want to hear about, right? You know, we're Pluto Libra. Geez, we may be way out of loop and shit. You know, I just excuse my language.
Don't get us started.
I'm just me. But yeah, anyways, yeah, like no, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And do want to thank you for stopping by and listening.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Miriam. Thanks for having me.
Next week we are going to be going over the political, well, we still have more to talk about: the homesteading, the food changes, the great resignation. the looking at the career and shifting. So you guys don't go away. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in talking about these relatable astrology principles. You're going to learn a lot by sitting with Heather and I, and we hope you bring your friends. Okay. It
Yeah,
has been
please
a
do.
beautiful pleasure sitting with you guys. Don't forget to write, and we'll talk to y'all later. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.